So even pre-pandemic, when you have an unemployment application, let's just say I was a worker at the same employer for 20 years on a W-2, there's no problems with my employment, I don't have any, it's called a clean claim, basically meaning it was something that's simple, I apply online, I'll be getting my first payment in 2 to 3 weeks. That's pre-pandemic. Even now, or even at the height of the pandemic, if you had a clean claim, you were still getting paid that same timeline. If you're somebody who has, a lot of folks in your district obviously work in New York State, or they might have multiple jobs, or their employer might contest that they quit versus they were laid off or furloughed, or there might be another issue with a claim where they have a past unemployment claim that maybe there's an issue on there. That's about half of our claims. And those half usually have to speak to an agent to clear something up, to maybe prove their identity. All these are measures meant to protect the claimant and protect our trust fund and to follow U.S. Department of Labor federal regulations about who can and can't claim unemployment. But even with that, we took pretty quick steps to automate a lot of those processes. As I said in my testimony the other day, about 485,000 claims were put through on an automated process that prior to COVID would have had to talk to somebody on the phone. A lot of our work to help claimants has been about increasing the supply of claims agents to work with them, but also about reducing the demand of having to talk to a claims agent. So we've been working on that nonstop, but in the end, when you have 1.5 million claimants, there's always going to be a large population that needs to speak to one of our agents to have their issue resolved on their claim. We have our own call centers, right? We have 3 regional call centers prior to the pandemic. And some states don't even have call centers anymore. They've had to contract out since COVID to have somebody available on the phone. Some states are just doing online and by mail. But we did our contracted call center. Again, these are private sector employees who we're contracting with. They have a certain level of access to somebody's claim. So if somebody calls up, they can learn about some information about their claim that they might not be able to see on their online portal. We can tell them, oh, we can see the problem here. Maybe it's something you can fix yourself, or we can see that you've been set up for a monetary appointment. You need to wait to hear from one of our agents, or we can see that maybe you're out of eligibility, unfortunately. We can tell people things about their claim they might not be able to glean from their own online access to the system. But folks who need to have something fixed on their claim, whether it be maybe a backdating, or maybe there's something on there that a claims agent has to reach out to their employer about, or something to that effect, that's when it gets elevated to one of our full-time claims examiners. Again, the call centers, the contracted call centers, was more about taking work off the plate of our experienced claims examiners. So when people call into the call center, we're about 45,000 calls a week being answered. About half of them have their problem fixed right there, or not fixed, but they have the answer they need on the spot. And then about 42, 44% have to get moved on to a claims examiner or somebody higher level to take a certain action on their claim. Many of them that might be, like I said before, I hate to keep hitting on it, but out-of-state wages or something we're just waiting on from other states, or waiting back from a survey from their employer. So there's some things that are in our control and some things that are out of our control. But generally, the folks who get through the call center, about half of them are quote-unquote resolved, whatever they were calling about. It might be a question about the CARES Act. It might be a question about extended benefits or the FEMA program. So there could be different reasons they're calling, but our goal is to make sure that our experienced claims examiners, who I want dealing with your constituent's claim on the harder issues, they're not dealing with questions that somebody else can answer.